Okay, next we're going to create this little animation. I'll play it for you.
Oh man, you have got to be kidding.
Okay, so I just recorded this, oh man, you've got to be kidding, using QuickTime Pro on my Mac. Now we're going to time the animation to each of the words as I pronounce them. So let's first create a new composition. And let's say, I'll call this You've Got to Be Kidding 2. Okay, and it's 1280 by 720. 3 seconds, that's not going to be quite long enough. Let's make this one, let's make it 6 seconds, and then we can shorten it if we need to. I'll say OK. I'm going into my assets, and I'm going to take the oh man audio. And if you hit LL, you will see the waveform, and that's going to help you tell where the words are pronounced. Right there, it's going to be O. So I want to put a marker at each word. So you can set a marker by pressing Control 8, or if when you're playing it, you can just hit the asterisk key within the number pad. That'll do it as well. Then you can double click on it and name it. So this would be O. And if you hold down the Command key on the Mac, scrub through the audio, you can hear it. So there's the man. You. There's the have right in there. Got. Right in here, and I'm going to put 2B together since they're pronounced very quickly after one another. That high point right there is the k in kidding. So we'll do kidding right there. And I don't say me on this. I know most people say kidding me, but I just said kidding. That's where it ends. Okay. So this is actually where our comp ends. So let's change our composition settings, Command K, and we'll just change it to 5 instead of 6. And then we should be good. Now I'm going to start with my type. I'll just click in the middle of my composition window and type O. I'm going to do all uppercase. You can select any font that you like. In this case, I think I'll go with maybe Impact. And I'll scale it up a bit. Now I'm just going to duplicate the layer, Command D. And the second layer, I'm going to move down, hit position, just move this down. And this will be, now if you double click on the T, it'll highlight the words and you can just type in man. And I'm going to, since I say, oh man, I'll just make the ends longer. Oh man. Duplicate this. Now in the example I showed you, which was based on a tutorial I saw online some time ago, and I've been modifying it ever since, I think I justified everything. I don't think I'm going to bother justifying everything. By justifying, let me show you what I'm talking about. So in this one, I've got all the type lining up like this. I don't think I'm going to go through the justifying right now. It's just a matter of scaling each word so it's exactly the same width as whatever your target word is, in this case, O. But I think I'll just have them be centered but not justified. So, oh man, you. And duplicate this one, move it down. Double click on the T. Have. And maybe I'll close this up. Let's talk about that for a minute. See, this space looks a little bit wide, so this would be the kerning. So if I stick my cursor between those two words and hold down the Option key, and then I can hit the left arrow, that's going to close up that space. I'll let go of the Option, hit the right arrow, move over to the next space, and move that one over. I think that looks a little bit better if they're a little bit tighter. I can do the same thing on the U. Let's go up here to the U, close that one up slightly. Not bad. O, I think, could be closed up also. Man looks pretty good, but I think the ends, we could just uniformly close up the tracking, but when the type is big like this, a lot of times you want to do it manually. Okay, so, oh man, you have, and I'll duplicate this one, position, you have got, and to be, I need to get in here, so I'm going to add in a null object. We're going to be using the null object for all of our animation, actually. So I'll just add it in right now and make everything a child of the null. So you just go from the drop-down menu if you wish, and I can use the null to scale everything down so I can get my type in there. I'll position it with the null also. You've got to be. So we need to be in there. Command D, move this one down, double click on the T, to be. And let's go ahead and adjust the kerning. I think there's too much space in there. And I'll modify got a little bit. Okay, I just noticed in my example that I created previously, I made the A's the double instead of the N, man. Let's just do it just man, and then we will animate the and when we get to it. So, oh man, you've got to be, and then we'll get kidding will be separate, so we won't worry about kidding right now. Now what I want to do is go in here and trim each one of these words so that it just appears first where it is voiced. So like O, I'll come to O and hit Option, left bracket. Then I'll move on over to man, trim man. Get over here to U. Hold the Shift key and you'll snap to the U. Got. To be. Okay, so.
Oh man, you have got to be kidding.
Okay, so the O is off center. Let's go ahead and center O better. I'm going to drag a guide out and then hit position, center my O.
Oh man, you have got to be kidding.
Okay. All right, so now we're going to reveal them using the null object as each one is voiced. All right, I'm going to start by centering O using the null object. So I'm going to hit P, and if you hit the Option key, you can get P and scale both open for the null object. So I'm going to drag O up. I've already scaled it up to 306%. So keyframes for scale and for position. Now I'm going to go back 3 frames, 1, 2, 3, and I'll drag out the layer for O, and using my position and scale, leave scale the way it is, but I'm going to start pull my position off so that when I say O, it pops up into place. O. Now man is going to pop on right here. So we need to go back 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'll put keyframes. So this is just a copy and paste of these, or you can just click in new keyframes. Go back to the start of man, and then move man up and scale the whole thing down so it can fit inside of title and action save. Like this. So he goes, oh man, oh man. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for each one of these. So I'll go over to you, and I'll go back 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you can copy and paste. You can copy and paste these if you wish. So that's going to hold it in place. Then we go forward 1, 2, 3. So that's where you should appear. So now I'm going to move it up and scale it all down. Go a little bit bigger. Okay, that's pretty good. So the next word pops on and then moves up. So we have 3 frames where it pops on and then it moves into place. It holds, and then the next word pops on and it moves up. Then I'll go to the next one to have. Go back 3, 1, 2, 3. These have to be copied and pasted in place. Command C, Command V. So that holds everything there. I'll extend have back out so that it will appear right then. It's going to then move up, scale down. Okay, so we've got you have got, we'll go to got, back 1, 2, 3, copy and paste these keyframes to hold everything in place. And then we can drag out the got, so it pops on frame, and then move it up, scale everything down. Okay, so, oh man, you have got to be 1, 2, 3. Copy and paste these keyframes. Drag that layer out. Move everything up, scale it down. All right, let's add a little bit of animation to man. When it comes in, it says, oh man. So we'll come in here. Let's duplicate man. And we'll use an animator. So I'll just open up my text layer and then add tracking. So we're going to start out with tracking at 0. And as I pronounce man, we'll track it out. So it's about there. We'll go like that. Now let's add some letters in there as well. So I'll come in here and add extra A. Oh man. So let's close it up here. We'll have to make it even tighter. So it'll be closed up like this. And we won't see it right now. So I'm going to hit T for opacity. Make this first part 0. And then as it comes out, oh man. Let's see what that looks like.
Oh man, you have got.
So it goes out and then it's got to fade away or else get completely off screen.
Oh man,
So I'll just make it sure that it goes completely off screen with the tracking. Like that. And then trim that layer so that layer is no longer even in my timeline. Let's play it.
oh man, you have got to be kidding.
Okay, and then kitting comes in and hits. I'm going to do position and rotation on most of these to get them off screen. No longer am I going to be using the null object. In fact, we could just trim the null so that it's out of the picture altogether. And each one of these will have a position and a rotation. So you can hit Option R for the rotation, and that automatically puts in a keyframe for rotation. So we've got rotation and position. So as kitting hits, then they start flying off. So you can start with any one of them you want. Like maybe we start with the have. So I'll take the have and first deselect, and then select the have. Maybe the have is going to go off here, but on the way out, it's going to rotate twice. So let's see what that does. I hit have. Now I don't want it to fly off until it hits the kid, until the kid hits it. So we're going to have to move all of these guys over probably till just before the kid hits, like in here. If I wait until the kid actually hits, sometimes it feels like it's a little bit too delayed. So usually I have it start just slightly before the kid actually hits. That feels pretty good. So boom. Okay, so then we'll do the same thing with the U. I'll deselect and reselect. So the U is probably going to fly off up here, and then I'll add some rotation to that. Maybe go off this way. And then man can go up here. Give it a rotation. And same deal with O. You could fly maybe off this way. So now we've got my O is flying off too fast, too soon, so I must not have had a keyframe in there. I didn't, it was off here. So let's go back and put keyframes in for O. I need a rotation and I need a position. Okay, then O is going to fly off. Don't need that extra keyframe. Then O is going to fly off up here and maybe have one rotation. And the same thing for got and to be. Okay, that's looking good, but my kitting is not going over far enough. So I've got the command and kitting hit. Now it needs to go over farther. So I'm going to go to kitting and bring that on out to center. And you know, see when I move it like this, I kind of like that. Maybe it does a little bit of that. So I could go extend it beyond and then come back to center. I could do this a couple of times so I get a little bit of a spring to it. Let's just see what that looks like.
Got to be kidding.
A little bit fast, but not bad. Maybe I'll just pull these out, select them all, hold the Option key so I can just spread them out, and I'll add some. Now this one, you notice on this, I haven't added a lot of eases or anything, any at this point, because this one is intended to look very abrupt.
Oh man, you have got to be kidding.
I might want some on this last little bit though for the spring. So I think I'll try this one in the middle on easy ease, and maybe this last one easy ease in, and slow that one down slightly. And let's see if that looks any better.
You have got to be kidding.
I guess. Let me add an easy ease out on that one.
You have got to be kidding.
I think it's okay. Maybe I'll add, I could try this a little bit more. If I hold down the command key, I can turn this back into a linear. So it's going over, back, and then it can shoot a little bit shorter. It could shoot the other way and still be past center, and then it can come back to center. Let's see if that looks any better. Maybe. So I'll make this one easy ease and this one easy ease in, and I think I'll let it go with that. Now I might want the kitting to grow after this, so or I could pre-compose the whole thing. I think this might be fun. Let's pre-compose everything. So I'm going to select all, and then Command-Shift-C, pre-comp. So this will be, you've got to be, and then I'll just call it pre-comp. Say OK. Now to be organized, I will put my pre-comp in the pre-comp folder. Here it is here. Bring it down here. Now, I was just thinking that it might be nice if we put a little bit of a wiggle on this whole thing. So there is a wiggler under Window. Open up Wiggler. We need some keyframes. We're going to wiggle position. So I'll hit a position keyframe, and then I'll go to the end, and I'll do another position keyframe, and I'll just change it a little bit. So maybe it goes up here, and over here it's down a little bit. Then I'm going to select both these keyframes. So you can just select the word, and under frequency and magnitude. So frequency is how often it's going to shake, and magnitude is how high. So or how much. So I'm going to do like 9 and how frequency. Well, let's just try this and see.
Oh man, you have got to be kidding.
So that feels kind of like a handheld camera. I'm going to bring that first one down, though. I'm going to bring this back down so that it's in the middle, pretty much where I want it. And try it again. And maybe increase the frequency, like double it. So I'll go 10. And magnitude I won't make so much. So it'll be, I want it to be a little bit more nervous instead of quite so drifting. So that feels kind of like old vintage film or something, perhaps.
Oh man, you have got to be kidding.
Okay, I'm going to go with that for now.